Okay, let's just jump right in. We're going straight into a story that, honestly, it sounds like the climax of a huge blockbuster movie.
It really does.
Imagine this. A massive, completely silent, 1,000-foot black pyramid just appears over a small, sleeping Welsh village.
Yeah, and this isn't some old folklore. This happened in Pentyrch in 2016. And the paper trail, well, it leads straight to some of the most classified levels of British intelligence.
Yeah, and for this deep dive, we've pulled together everything we could find. We have eyewitness accounts that are so detailed, they're almost impossible to discuss.
And we have verifiable physical evidence. I mean, we're talking seismograph readings, lasting radiation.
Yeah.
And then, the crucial part, decades of previously secret UK Ministry of Defense files.
So our mission here is to really connect the dots for you. We want to go beyond just the wow factor of the Pentyrch sighting itself.
Right.
We need to unpack the specifics. What did the witnesses actually see? What physical effect did it have on them and on the environment?
And then we're going to link that modern incident directly to these historical intelligence files that, well, they reveal the British military's genuine, long-standing concern about acquiring this technology.
Exactly. This was never just about lights in the sky for the Ministry of Defense. For them, this was about national security, about a technological arms race.
It's a journey, really. From a single, frankly terrifying encounter in a quiet UK village, all the way to high-level strategy documents debating threats to the realm.
And the need to reverse engineer technologies that seem to be, beyond our current understanding of physics.
So let's set the scene. It's the night of February 26, 2016. The village of Pentyrch suddenly becomes this hub of military interest.
For 3 whole days, you have surveillance planes just circling. The local police are getting calls about all sorts of strange activity. But the main event, the reason for all of it, it happened around 2:30 in the morning.
And the key witness here, the person whose testimony really forms the backbone of all of this, is a woman named Caz Clarke. She's a 57-year-old resident, works in security.
She was with her neighbor, Dave.
Right, with her neighbor, Dave. And they were drawn outside into the fields right behind her house in the middle of the night.
And what they saw is, the word is monumental, literally. Caz described it as enormous, majestic, no way you could be mistaken.
We're talking about a massive black pyramid, totally silent, just hovering there right above the tree line.
And the size estimates are they're staggering. The sources put it at around 1,000 feet long on each side.
Which, to give you some perspective, is significantly larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Bigger than Giza, and just hanging there over a field in Wales.
The scale is one thing, but how it appeared is, I think, even stranger. It didn't fly in or descend like a plane. Caz's description is so vivid. She said it was like a knife blade slicing through black paper. It just emerged.
Wow. And it had this rough, non-reflective texture, didn't it? Like carved black stone.
Exactly. And what gets me is the lack of any, conventional physics. This giant object, this monolith, is completely silent.
And it was apparently swaying gently, sort of like a pendulum, while just hanging there, motionless.
And that's where the scientific anomalies really began. The moment the pyramid appeared, the environment around it changed. Instantly.
This is the temperature drop.
The temperature drop.
Yeah.
Witnesses confirmed it dropped by 5 degrees Celsius. In seconds.
Just think about the sheer amount of energy you'd need to do that, to change the air temperature over such a large area so quickly. It suggests some kind of intense, active field around this thing.
And then it got active. While this pyramid is hovering there, a smaller, bright green object shoots out from the top, and it's darting around erratically.
Followed by lightning bolts, right? Erupting from the main pyramid.
Yes, but not normal lightning. Caz described them as thick, quote, fire-colored fingers that were striking specific targeted points in the field below.
That targeting is key. It implies intelligence, a deliberate action.
And it's right at this moment that the military shows up. And their activity seems almost coordinated with the craft. 4 huge C-17 transport planes suddenly appear.
And they're flying dangerously low, so low that it implies they were responding to a massive emergency or maybe a signal.
Possibly a signal from that smaller green object, which seemed to be, coordinating things.
Wait, hold on. C-17s. Those are massive cargo planes. They're for hauling tanks and heavy equipment.
Exactly.
Why would they be flying dangerously low in response to an unidentified object? That can't be standard procedure. It sounds more like a pre-planned recovery op or just desperation.
It definitely suggests a level of priority that is far beyond just routine monitoring. They were engaged, and then the situation escalated even more.
How?
As the pyramid started to retreat, dozens of small, red, barrel-shaped objects launched into the sky. And these weren't far away. They were hovering just 30 feet from the witnesses.
30 feet away. That's practically face-to-face with this unknown technology. And that proximity, it had a direct physical effect on them.
It absolutely did. One of the red barrels changed color to a bright green, and it just bathed Caz and Dave in this distinct, warm, tingling light.
Which led to temporary paralysis and serious disorientation.
Profound disorientation. And when the effect finally wore off, they realized they had lost over an hour of time.
Just gone. An hour. Completely unaccounted for.
So you've got this incredible scale, the silence, the instant 5-degree temperature drop, the targeted energy bolts, confirmed engagement by military transports.
And documented physiological effects on people. Paralysis and lost time. That is an overwhelming amount of data for one incident. Which brings us to the aftermath. If this was all just, a weather balloon, why the massive cover-up?
That is the perfect question. And the physical effects, they continued right into the morning. At 4:21 a.m., 2 huge explosions went off.
Loud enough to register on seismographs, right?
Loud enough to register on seismographs 40 miles away. This confirmed something significant happened on the ground, probably related to those lightning strikes or whatever this military was doing.
And when Caz and her neighbors went out to the site the next day, the evidence was undeniable. The vegetation right under the pyramid's flight path was described as being completely drained of life.
Yes, a very precise, desiccated path, while the grass, literally a foot to either side, was perfectly healthy.
So strange. And then there was the snow.
The snow, it reportedly fell only inside that dead zone.
Yeah.
And when it landed, it didn't melt on contact with the ground. It just sat there.
It's like a bubble of altered physics was left behind. An energy residue.
But the most disturbing part, for the witnesses at least, has to be the lasting health impact. An investigator named Gary Jones measured the electromagnetic field, EMF levels, at the site 5 years later.
And the readings were still incredibly high. What was it, like 1.2?
Up to 1.2. And just to put that in perspective for you, the general safety range for human exposure is between 0.2 and 0.4.
So 5 years later, the area was still giving off radiation levels more than 3 times the safety threshold.
And Caz Clarke paid a direct price. Her hair reportedly turned completely white overnight.
A change widely attributed to severe shock or radiation exposure. And her body apparently started emitting its own unusual electrical signal that investigators could actually detect.
So this moves way beyond just an interesting story. This is documented public health damage.
Which makes the official response all the more revealing, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The Ministry of Defense, their first response was to deny any military presence in the area at all.
Which quickly became impossible to maintain.
Right, with all the local reports and flight trackers. So they changed their story. They admitted to conducting exercises, but they claimed it was part of something called Operation Chameleon.
But that was a weak cover story. Caz, through her own digging and Freedom of Information requests, she proved Operation Chameleon took place hundreds of miles away.
Making the military deployment in Pentyrch under that excuse completely illegal. They lied. Not once, but twice.
And then, when she pushed for a real explanation, they just shut her down.
They shut her down by invoking Section 26. That's part of the Freedom of Information Act that lets them deny information if releasing it is deemed not in the public interest.
Hang on, so they deny being there, then they admit to a fake exercise, and then they claim that telling the public about this highly radioactive seismic event they were involved in is not in the public's interest.
Pretty much.
That suggests they see this as something of huge strategic importance. You don't use 3 layers of denial for a simple training flare.
Of course not, because their actions on the ground also pointed to a very specific search and recovery effort.
This is the fracking survey story.
Exactly. Locals reported military personnel all over Smilog Woods, an area where trees had been clearly snapped in half, and the soldiers told people they were conducting a fracking survey.
But fracking was illegal there, so the cover story was just transparently false.
It was. They just needed a plausible, non-military reason to be searching the exact spot where there was physical evidence of some kind of impact or energy blast.
So let's recap. We have a massive non-conventional craft. We have evidence of physiological harm, high radiation seismograph readings, and a confirmed multi-layered military cover-up. So now we have to ask the big why. What were they hiding?
And how does this one incident in 2016 connect to the UK's deepest defense secrets? This is where we have to pull the lens back and look at the broader historical context.
The secret documents.
The secret documents. Previously classified files from the Defense Intelligence Staff, the Ds from the 1990s, they're in the National Archives now, and they reveal the true institutional mindset.
And they were not treating UAPs as a joke.
Far from it. They concluded there was a basis, in fact, for these sightings. That's a profound admission right there.
And the focus of their internal memos wasn't about aliens, was it? It was purely about military capability, national security.
Absolutely. There's one memo from March 4th, 1997 that is crystal clear. It states that UAPs are a potential threat to the defense of the realm.
And why?
Because their nature was unknown, and their capabilities were demonstrably superior to anything we had. And the primary concern wasn't invasion, it was technology acquisition. The reports flatly state that UAPs do not appear to use conventional reaction propulsion.
So the intelligence community wasn't just interested in the phenomenon itself, they were interested in the physics behind it, this non-conventional propulsion.
Precisely. Because they knew it would represent an insurmountable technological gap if a hostile power got their hands on it first.
And to justify this pursuit of acquisition, the files actually confirm some famous historical cases, didn't they?
They did. Two of them. First, the Rendlesham Forest incident from 1980. The files say it was explicitly confirmed by the U.S. unit commander and others, and they described a glowing metallic triangular craft landing in the forest.
And the second case connects directly to the pyramid shape seen in Pentyrch.
Yes. The files focused heavily on a wave of sightings of massive, silent, low-flying black triangles over Belgium between 1989 and 1990.
The Belgian deltas.
The Belgian deltas, as they were called? The report said they could hover for long periods and then accelerate so fast they could outrun F-16s.
And that's the whole ballgame right there, isn't it? The ability to outrun a modern fighter jet with no visible means of propulsion.
That's the linchpin. The military documents concluded that some of these reports described objects with maneuvers, speeds, and shapes that, quote, lie beyond our engineering knowledge and that which could be reasonably expected from hostile powers.
That one phrase basically defines the entire goal of the MOD's UAP investigation. Find out what this technology is and, if possible, get it.
They saw it as a high-priority strategic intelligence opportunity. It's funny, one memo did joke that even mentioning UAPs is guaranteed to generate mirth and little green men jokes.
Ah, yeah.
But that just highlights the internal conflict, right, between the public dismissal and the very serious private strategic intelligence work.
They were publicly laughing it off while privately and desperately trying to understand and maybe even seize the technology.
So when you look at the cover-up in Pentyrch, with all its layers of deception, it looks less like a panic denial.
And much more like a strategic intelligence operation, trying to secure an object that was exhibiting the exact characteristics, the non-conventional propulsion, the geometric shape that they had been tracking for decades.
If we synthesize this whole trajectory, the logic is pretty sound. You have the modern Pentyrch sighting with all its dramatic physical evidence, the radiation, the temperature drop, the paralysis.
And the detailed witness accounts of a craft engaging with the military.
And that modern evidence aligns perfectly with those historical intelligence files from the 90s, which explicitly laid out the need to acquire technology capable of outrunning their own fighter jets.
The military knew exactly what they were looking for when they were illegally searching Smilog Woods.
The core takeaway here is that this idea that UAPs are just a joke, it completely contradicts the serious, long-standing, classified UK military interest in the technological threat, and more importantly, the acquisition potential of these phenomena.
The fact that they use such a comprehensive and layered deception, the denials, the fake operations, Section 26, it's all strong circumstantial evidence that they believed something non-conventional and strategically vital was there.
Something they were actively trying to recover.
It changes the entire conversation from did they see something to what did the MOD try to acquire and what was the cost to Caz Clarke and the other witnesses.
Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you to take away. Given that we have MOG documents confirming an official interest in acquiring technology that uses non-conventional propulsion, and that real-world events like Pentyrch leave harmful triple-safe level radiation behind years later, How are we supposed to reconcile the government's claim that the incident was not in the public interest when their quest for this advanced, unknown technology directly intersects with documented, lasting public health risks?